Hare Krishna, my name is Param Brahmadas, and today I'm going to speak on a presentation called Dangers of Vaishnavapradha. So let's start. Namo Vaishnapadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitanamne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashati Deshatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasari Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we can see that we all are very sincere to progress in our spiritual life, and we are doing so much hard work. We are just chanting, reading books, avoiding other anarthas. But it says the Vaishnava Aparadha, it's one of the most hindrance or the aparadha on the path of spiritual journey, which allows a sadhaka not to progress in the spiritual life. And it just happened, lack of knowledge in our bhakti, and that's why it stops us to grow here. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he explains this Vaishnava Aparadha to a mad elephant. For example, we have seen a gardener, he takes so much hard work throughout so many years, 4, 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years, just to create a beautiful garden. He creates a fence around the garden. He gives a proper fertilization, and he protects from the weeds that garden, and he gives a proper water time to time, so make sure the garden grows or looks so beautifully. But as soon as a mad elephant comes to the garden, that mad elephant takes just few seconds just to destroy that garden. Just few seconds, and it destroys the hard work of a gardener of so many years. Similarly, a Vaishnava, he does so much hard work throughout the so many years, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, try to make his bhakti garden so beautiful. But as soon as he does the Vaishnava Aparadha, which compared to a mad elephant, that Vaishnava Aparadha destroys whole bhakti garden just in few seconds. It doesn't take so long to destroy the garden, bhakti garden, just few seconds. That's why we have to be very, very careful not to do a Vaishnava Aparadha. Even in Padma Purana, there are 10 offenses against the holy name that we chant in our ISKCON temple every morning before starting or doing our chanting, that to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life to propagating the holy name of the Lord, not to criticize. It has been ranked number 1. I mean, that is its hierarchy, that we have to be very, very careful not to commit this Vaishnava Aparadha. So let's see from different scriptures such as Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, what is the viewpoint of Lord Krishna towards his dear devotee, his pure devotee? What he thinks about it? How does he treat his pure devotee in relation to him? So I'm going to quote from Canto 9 Srimad Bhagavatam, that it is a conversation happening between Maharaj Amrisha, where he's been offended by Durvasha Muni. And let's see our the acharyas and the Lord, what is he saying, what is viewpoints towards his pure devotee. It is right there on your screen, text. Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.63 says, Shri Bhagavan Vacha Aham Bhakta Paradhino Heya Ashvatantara Eva Dvija Sadhu Vigrasta Hridayo Bhaktir Bhakta Janapriya. The Supreme Personality of God had said to the Brahmanas, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires. I sit only within the course of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee, even those who are devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. And now let's read text number 68. Sadhavo hirdayam mahayam sadhu nam hirdayam tva aham mad anyat tena janati naham tepyo manag api. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Did you see the love of the Lord towards his devotee? How much he cares, how much he meditates, because this is a relationship between a pure devotee and the Lord. It is not a one-side relation. It is always a two-side relation, where when a pure devotee always thinks about the Lord, on the other side the Lord always think about his pure devotee. I tell you one beautiful pastime. It happened in Mahabharata when the Pandavas, when they defeated the Kauravas, and that night it is a custom that the winning party has to spend a night in the other party's camp because they have won the battle. Now the Yudhishthir, because they were 5 brothers, so Lord Krishna says ki Yudhishthir, Bhima and Arjun will stay or will spend one night in Kaurava's camp, and Sahdev and Nakul will go back to their own camp and they will protect their camp. So when they spent the whole night, then the next morning Maharaj Yudhishthira was just passing through the room of Lord Krishna, and suddenly he notices that, and he asks Krishna, he says, Krishna, what I'm seeing is so astonishing, so wonderful, that the whole universe, whole world, all the yogis, all the bhaktas, all the gyanis, all the demigods, all the knowledgeable person, they always meditate upon your lotus feet or upon your beautiful form. But here you are meditating, but to whom you are meditating upon? The Lord says that I am meditating upon my pure devotee Bhishma Dev. Because he is lying on the arrow of bed, he is meditating upon me, so I am also meditating upon him. So that proves that it is not a relationship of one side, it is a relationship of both sides. Lord also thinks about his pure devotee, and pure devotee also thinks about it. And he's so much so dear that if anybody tries to harm or to criticize or to speak ill or do bad mouth towards them, Lord takes very serious action. We have seen in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Ambarisha, that how he was trying to offend Maharaj Ambarisha, and how Lord has protected. Throughout the whole Bhagavatam, we have seen many different cases. Now I have been given a task to speak on this on this subject matter, which is dangerous of Vaishnavapradha, which I am going to take few examples, few personalities from Canto 4, such as Daksha Prajapati, Suruchi, who is the stepmother of Dhruva Maharaj, and Vena, King Vena, and Indra. How these 4 personalities, and plus I will take 2 more examples from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita as well, just to illustrate ki whoever they are, even they are a member of Lord's family, even though if they do also offend the Vaishnava, the Lord does not escape them either. He always makes sure or set an example that how serious that Vaishnava aparadha is, that it can destroy your 50, 40 years or millions of lifetime bhakti just in a few seconds here. So, so let's see what happens in Canto 4. We know very well that who is Daksha Prajapati, a very powerful personality in Srimad Bhagavatam. But Daksha is also known for his anger towards Lord Shiva. We know it comes in the beginning of Canto 4 that Prajapati means he's been given a task to populate the universe, giving birth to so many children. So one day Daksha and the other demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and many other principal demigods there, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, they all come together to do the welfare of the whole entire human society. So they get together, and in that arena, as soon as Daksha comes, everybody stands up to honor him except Lord Brahma. We know why that, because Lord Brahma is the father of Daksha Prajapati, so he was not expecting. But as soon as he sees Lord Shiva is not standing for his honor, he gets very upset. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that there was no need for Lord Shiva to stand up for the honor of the Daksha. But Daksha was thinking that I am his father-in-law. I have given my daughter, my pet daughter, Mother Sati, to him as a wife, and in that regard, I am his eldest. So he has to stand up to show some respect to me. But that time, Lord Shiva was meditating at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and he was enjoying the pastime. He did not even notice that Daksha Prajapati has come to the arena. But before knowing the fact, Lord Shiva, Prajapati, Daksha, he got so envious and so angry, then he started using ill words towards Lord Shiva. And it says, Srila Prabhupada in the purport, that when a person gets angry, he loses the discrimination power, what is good and what is bad. And sometimes he even criticizes in anger, he even criticizes the most respectable personality in the arena. And we can see when Daksha Prajapati was criticizing Lord Shiva very badly, Lord Shiva did not counteract. He was just humbly accepting, because he was so well educated in the science of Krishna consciousness. He knows that he's not this body, he's a spirit soul, and he's an eternal servant of Lord Krishna. He did not even respond to those ill words. He was just simply smiling and just listing the ill words, and it was not affecting him a lot. And Daksha Prajapati, by seeing this, he became so angry that he started criticizing his father also. He was saying, my father is also not intelligent. He doesn't know to whom to give the daughter. He requested me to give my daughter to Lord Shiva, who just like a madman, and so many other bad words. He just used it. Why so? Because Daksha Prajapati can't digest the position of Lord Shiva, that Lord Shiva is being respected by other demigods, other great personalities. He cannot even digest his greatest position. Because Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the principal demigods. They don't need to stand up for the honor of Daksha. But Daksha, not knowing, because he became so jealous with the position of Lord Shiva, why is he being respected by others? Why not me? Why he did? Because and there is one more reason, that he was already. There was one more reason, that he was already very envious of Lord Shiva previously, and he was getting some chance to blaspheme Lord Shiva, and due to that, we know it, that his heart became so hard-hearted that he was not even talking to his pet daughter Sati, Mother Sati, when she came to when Daksha Prajapati started doing another sacrifice. He didn't even invite Lord Shiva. But Sati Devi, when she went there, and he was not talking to her as well, because he was seeing as a relation of her daughter with Lord Shiva, and he started criticizing her, means in that sense, because he was ignoring her, and that caused what happened. She just gave up her body. because she just criticized her father as well. You don't even know the position of Lord Shiva and so on. So there were many back and forth happened, and then Lord Shiva became angry and he sent one demon, and then demon what happened? That demon cut the head of Daksha, and we can see while blaspheming a pure Vaishnava that Daksha Prajapati has to pay for that. He lost his life. But anyway, later on, by the mercy of other Vaishnavas, and he's been offered prayer, Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva gave the head of the goat. So that was the case there. But in that case study, we learn one lesson, that being as a Vaishnava, if we see, if other Vaishnavas are being respected or honored more than us, so we should not be jealous or envious, because it is by the Krishna's grace that Vaishnava has been respected in the society, and we should have to feel proud that a Vaishnava has been respected in the society. We should not feel jealous or envy of that particular Vaishnava, and that makes us fall down. We can see in our society, wherever we are, we can see, or sometimes we have also done this type of aparadh, while seeing that someone is junior to us. He came after 2, 3, 4 years in Krishna consciousness after us, and now he's just flying like a rocket in devotional service, and many seniors and many other Vaishnavas, they just calling for the lecture, for the classes in front of us. He's been praised by many times. And if there is a jealousy in our heart that we are not able to hear the glorification of that particular Vaishnava, so that means we are suffering from this disease. So we need to check ourselves that I should be happy while hearing the glorification of a Vaishnava, or should I be jealous? So we need to check our point. So next case study I would like to take of Suruchi. Suruchi, we know very well that she was the stepmother of our dear Dhruva Maharaj. That Srila Prabhupada, he just write in the purport that one day Dhruva Maharaj was trying to get on the lap of his father Uttanapada, and Uttanapadana was a father of both Uttama and Dhruva, because Uttanapada had 2 wives, Suruchi and Suniti, and Suniti was the mother of Dhruva Maharaj, and Suruchi was mother of Uttama. So when Dhruva Maharaj saw that my younger brother has been loved by my father, so I also want to be loved by my father. So he was trying to get on the lap, but he's seeing that his stepmother Suruchi, out of so jealous, that she chastised this 5 years old boy Dhruva Maharaj so heavily out of envy, that broke the heart of the Dhruva Maharaj, and he could not tolerate the insult. So let me read a few verses from that pastime, where it shows why she was envious, and being as a woman, it is naturally she was envious, because first of all she was a co-wife of Dhruva Maharaj's mother, and she became very favorite to Dhruva Maharaj's father Uttanapada, and Maharaj Uttanapada was not taking care of Dhruva Maharaj's mother, but he was taking care of more, or giving more attention to Suruchi. And Suruchi, being as a woman, she was taking a very undue advantage of that situation, and she was looking Dhruva Maharaj in a very awful way, so she can insult it. So here we go. In chapter 8, text number 10, Srila Prabhupada writes that while the child Dhruva Maharaj was trying to get on the lap of his father, Suruchi, his stepmother, became very envious of the child, and with great pride she began to speak so as to be heard by the king himself. This is the nature of a woman. If a woman understands that her husband regards her as a favorite and especially affectionate to her, she takes undue advantage. These symptoms are visible even in such an elevated society as the family of Swambhuva Manu. Therefore, it is concluded that feminine nature of women is present everywhere. So that means here, if you are that incident shows that if you are very strong in a position, that you should not let your tongue speak loosely about anybody. No doubt, she was very beautiful and she was getting all the attention of the king, but that doesn't mean no one has given a right to her to insult other to other living entity. So here we can take the lesson here very carefully, that even we don't know, sorry, let me correct myself here, that we need to be very, very careful while speaking with others, whether that person is a big personality or a small personality, because we don't know in the future if that personality, if anybody becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, and then means that means we have done a Vaishnavapradha against a pure devotee of the Lord. Here, later on, when Lord Krishna gives a darshan to Dhruva Maharaj, in that case, Lord makes a very beautiful point, and he gives a heads up to Dhruva Maharaj that what is going to happen to your mother. Let me read one beautiful point here where the Lord's saying, he's saying, because of having insulted Dhruva Maharaj, Suruchi would become mad upon the death of her son and would enter a forest fire. Thus her life would be ended. This was specially mentioned by the Lord to Dhruva because he was determined for revenge against her. Even though Dhruva Dhruva forgot everything, whatever his stepmother has done to him. He became so pure. He was not taking a revenge against her, because that was his main point. When he was going to the forest, he was saying, I want a big kingdom, a big property or big wealth, bigger than my grandfather, who was none other than Lord Brahma. I just want bigger than him. But that was his material desire. But once he took the darshan of the Lord, his heart became so pure, that he was not thinking about anything else other than the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna. So when he became so pure, and we can see he just forgive her for everything. But if anybody has committed any offense, or whether it's a verbal or whether it's a physical or any kind of offense, if anybody has done, Lord definitely punishes, and he takes the offense very, very seriously. So here, let me read a small few lines where Srila Prabhupada writes, when Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaj, he was just a child. She of course did not know that Dhruva was a great recognized Vaishnava, and so her offense was committed unknowingly. When one serves a Vaishnava unknowingly, one still gets the good result, and when one unknowingly insults a Vaishnava, one suffers the bad result. Here so beautifully that we have to be very, very careful with our words and action, that whomever we are speaking, we should have to speak in a very appropriate way. Make sure we should not hurt, or we should not break the heart of the other person, because we don't know in the future if that person becomes a pure devotee, and whatever offenses we have done against him, then we need to pay for that. And that is the life case here in front of us, where Mother Suruchi, because she didn't know that Dhruva Maharaj is going to become a great Vaishnava in the future, and she spoke so harsh word, and for that reason she has to lost her life. And that Lord himself is saying, don't worry, in the future that your younger brother Uttama, he will go to the forest for hunting, and then he will be killed by yakshas, and when the news will be heard by his mother Suruchi, and she will go mad that I have lost my son, and she will go to the forest and she will also die in the forest. So the lessons here, what we learn from this pastime is that we need to be very, very careful not to speak harsh word with any single living entity, whether that living entity is a devotee or a non-devotee, because everybody is a part and parcel of Lord Krishna. So if we are criticizing one living entity, that means we are criticizing a one part of Lord Krishna. That Lord Krishna does not like to hear it, and he does not like that one of my child is criticizing or speaking ill to my other child. Here, so let's take the third case study, and we take what lesson comes out of that, and that lesson is of the pastimes of King Vena. As we know that King Vena, he was such a crooked king in the history of Srimad Bhagavatam, that his father was such a pious soul, King Anga, but for some reason that his son became so crooked that when his father left the kingdom, because he was so fed up with his son's activity, then he just left the whole kingdom for the spiritual realization. So that kingdom was left alone without any king. And seeing the activity of King Vela since the childhood, that he was so crooked, everybody was fear, and the Brahmanas had no other option in case of emergency to put any other personality on the throne as a king. So they just found only Vena, and Vena was appointed in an emergency by the Brahmanas, and Brahmanas gave him such a good advice. But as you know, in Vedic history, that all the kings used to be Raja and Rishis, means they were so well versed, they were so well trained in the Vedic scriptures. So that means whenever they rule under the guidance of the great Brahmanas, because they keep the Brahmanas as their ministers, as their well-wishers or advisors, good advisors. But he was so crooked that the personalities who offered him the throne as a king, he was insulting them either. He stopped all the religious activities. He stopped not to do any fire sacrifice, not to chant, not to read any scriptures, not to do any good activities. He was just asking everyone, just do the opposite, actually worship him as a god, because he was just giving a tarka, like an argument that a king has to be, or king is a representative of a god, as good as God. So don't worship the god, worship me as a god. I am your maintainer, I am your caretaker, I am providing you all the facilities of eating, sleeping, so and so. He was just telling that. But that is not right. If you see all the kings in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they used to be Rajrishis. They were so powerful that they were working under the guidance of the scriptures. When there is a time to protect the citizen, they do protect, plus they also provide them the spiritual facilities here. But as soon as the opulence came in the hand of King Vena, he becomes so proud, so envious, that he just stopped all religious activity. He says nobody will do anything. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that that's what happens when an unqualified king sit on the throne to rule the kingdom. So there is a havoc in the society, because that opulence, it makes the person intoxicated. That power, that opulence makes the person so intoxicated that he does not even recognize that this seat or this power has been offered by the Brahmanas, so at least I should respect them. But the Brahmanas, we know the pastime here, the Brahmanas, they warned him so many times, but finally there was no other option, so they just want to try one more last time to impress King Vena. But that time King Vena became extremely over with his offenses, so the Brahmanas had no other way to kill King Vena. They didn't do anything. They didn't use any weapon, any deadly weapon or anything. They just simply murmuring some mantras, they just killed King Vaina. We can see the Brahma Tejas, the power of the Brahmanas, those who are so strong in the scriptures that they don't need to use deadly weapons in their hand to kill anybody. Only just by simply chanting the mantras, they can kill anybody. Because they know this person is so proud, so envious of others living entity, that instead of saying thanks to them or correcting himself, he was just chastising the Brahmanas and the sages and the devotees. So the lesson we learned out of this beautiful pastime, where it teaches us when in our society, in our Hare Krishna movement society, if we have given any higher position by some other Vaishnavas or by our spiritual masters or any great personalities such as president, temple president, so that means in coming into that power or into that the influence of that position, we should not insult any living entity, especially in the Vaishnavas, because these positions has been given, this power has been given as a part of our service. We have seen, I have personally seen in some other temples that as one of the devotee, he has been given powerful. No doubt, he was very skillful in managing the things, but when the actual power came to his hand, then he started criticizing or speaking harshly against the devotees, those who were working under him. That make him fall down from that position very, very quickly, because he was thinking that speaking on a very raised volume or chastising someone will make me a pure devotee, because I have got the right to chastise anybody, not knowing that this position is just only for the matter of a time. Then it is been given to you to serve the Lord beautifully and humbly. So we have to be in a very humble position. But we have seen this devotee, he was so proud that he was even chastising his seniors also. So it was just a matter of some time, few months. Then he just gave up everything, and finally he just gone back to his usual karmi life, where he came from. Even though, I mean, we all felt very bad for him, but what can be done? It was a live example here, which I thought I could relate it with the King Vaina, when he was not qualified to sit, but he was still offered the seat to rule as a king. So he has to do the justice with his manner here, with his behavior. So being as all the Vaishnavas, we need to be very, very careful not to commit such a Vaishnava aparat, coming into the illusion of Maya, that yes, I am such a powerful or such a special person, that I have been offered this power, so I can do whatever I want. No, it is just a blessing of the Lord. So we have to take care and be humble in our position as a servant of Vaishnavas and as a servant of the Lord. And the other case, we learn it from King Indra. We can see that envy is such a thing that even the demigods are not escaped from this envious grip. Because in the material world, we know everybody is under the influence of Maya, and everybody would like to lord it over other living entity to show their supremacy. And whenever they see if someone is surpassing them in respect, in opulence, in knowledge, or things like that, so we get jealous. So here is a life study of King Indra, who is the king of heaven. We have seen in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam many times King Indra has done these mistakes, and he has been chastised by Lord himself or by other personalities not to do that, because he always feels insecure with his position. If he sees any great personalities, they are performing any kind of mystic yogas to gain some siddhis, so he always fears that this personality is coming to get my position, and he sent some apsaras to spoil the whole the whole austerity. So when he sees, in the case of Maharaj Prithu and King Indra, we can say that Maharaj Prithu has performed 99 Ashwamedha Yagya, and he was going to perform the last one. And when this news was given to Indra, then Indra personally came and he started stealing the sacrifice horse, because we can see how much he was jealous of the position of Prithvi Maharaj, because in the material world, all the living, mostly those who are not in Krishna consciousness, and those who are even in Krishna consciousness, and if they are not mature, they always feel that my position is insecure. Why other person is surpassing me? He is so junior to me. He has to be be under my guidance. Why he is advancing in spiritual life? So we feel some kind of a jealousy, some enviousness comes in our heart, which makes it goes to that extent where we want to hurt the devotee, either by words, either by physically, or like in a action. We can see here King Indra. What was he doing when he stole the soil for the fire? No, he stole the horse, the sacrifice horse from the sacrificial arena so many times. We can see that, and Prithvi Maharaj, he's a Shakti Vaishnavapradha, he's Lord himself. He was just going to chastise, but he's been checked by his spiritual masters and many other personalities. Don't do that. Indra is doing that's his habit. He does it all the time. So the lesson what we learned from this pastimes here, that we should not be envious of others opulence, or we should not be envious of others extreme skillful what do you call talent, in a skillful talent, because somebody is going to exceed me, and I have been in the movement for so many years. People don't recognize me very well, even though they do recognize me very well, but now this person has just come after me. Now he's taking over my position, and wherever I go, I just get to hear his glorification only all the time. So which makes our heart so envy that what happened to my position, why people are not talking about me. So if that sins come, so we just try to let the other Vaishnava downs. That means if I get that person disfame, or if we get that person hurt in the society, or I let him down somehow, then my superiority will increase, that people will worship me. So in that sense, so that is not a very healthy, what do you call it? This is not very healthy for our spiritual life. So these are the four personalities, what we learned, the four lessons out of it. And I would like to quote the other two incidents from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the two great personalities they committed a great offense towards the Vaishnava, and then they have to pay for that one. The one was none other than Sachi Mata. In Chaitanya Charitamrita that one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his mother Sachi Mata that Sachi Mata, you are not going back to Godhead. And she almost started crying. I said, why Chaitanya, why you are saying like this? I do so much service to you, I do so much service to other Vaishnavas, but why you are saying like this? And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mother, you have committed a great offense in your mind towards Advaita Acharya. And she didn't understand, because as we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, who is residing in everyone's heart as a Paramatma, as a super soul, he knows what is going on, what and where. So he immediately I said, do you remember that when my elder brother Vishwarupa, when he took sannyasa, then in your mind you were blaming or you were criticizing Advaita Acharya, and you were saying that just only because of him I lost my son. So you were criticizing him. When Vishwarupa was going to Sri Advaita Acharya's house for learning Srimad Bhagavatam and many other scriptures or listening to Krishna Katha, his heart became so pure that he decided not to get married and not to stuck in this material world, and he took sannyasa. And that time in your heart some ill words came into your mind towards Advaita Acharya. So in that sense you are not going back to God. And then we know how the pastimes goes, that Sachimata, she asks for forgiveness, and she says, look mother, I cannot give you forgiveness, or there is only one remedy, that you can take the dust from the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. Only by that remedy you can be escaped and you will be eligible to go back to God. And she was asking, so how can I do, because he is exactly like you as my son, so he will not allow me to touch his feet or give his dust. So one day what happened, when Advaita Acharya came and he was doing Danvat to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and taking the advantage of this, Sachimata, she went back and she took the dust from the feet of the Advaita Acharya and put it on her head. And by seeing that, Advaita Acharya became so embraced, and he says, why did you do that? And she says, please pardon me, in my mind I committed an offense towards you and I spoke some ill words. So that means we have to be very, very careful not to commit any offense with our body, mind and words, because Krishna is the knower. He is living in the heart of every single living entity. So he checks every merits and demerit points, what we are doing with our actions here. And the second pastime I would like to narrate it. It's Gopala Chapala. We know Gopala Chapala was a Brahmana, and this Brahmana was so envious of Srinivas Thakur that he can't even handle the popularity of Srinivas Thakur in the town, in the village. He was saying, wherever I go, I need to close my ear. Wherever I go, I just hear only everybody's talking about Srinivas Thakur, Srinivas Thakur, Srinivas Thakur. So I have to do something. So he made a plan. So what he did, he made a plan. One night he took the paraphernalia of worshipping Goddess Durga. He took the wine, he took the piece of meat, he took many other things, and left it at the door of Srinivas Thakur. And in the morning, because that was his plan, when people will wake up and when will see what are the stuff being left here at the door of Srinivas Thakur, and then people will talk about, and he will become this fan and my popularity will gain, so and so. And then next morning when Srinivas Thakur opened the door and he saw that wine, liquor is there and meat is there and other paraphernalia of worshipping Goddess Durga was there, then he himself called the whole village, hey, come out, look at it. I am such a biggest pretender. You people think I am the great worshipper of Lord Krishna. You think I have so much love for Lord Krishna. I am not a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Look at what I do whole night. I drink meat. I drink wine. I eat meat, and I use all this paraphernalia to worship Goddess Durga. I'm not a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. I'm such a pretender. I'm a mithyachari. And everybody came together and they saw what is happening, but nobody believed. Nobody believed Srinivas Thakur because they know very well that who is Srinivas Thakur, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Say, no, maybe somebody has left, and they didn't bother. But he himself was saying, but that is not true. But for this offense, after some time, this Gopala Chapla, he got the disease. He got the disease, and that disease was leprosy. and in that leprosy he was kicked out from his home, from the village, and he was suffering under the tree. After some time, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was just passing from that area where this Gopal Chokla was crying from this problem, from the disease, then he just came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was asking for forgiveness. Sorry Mahaprabhu, I have committed a great offense. Please protect me from this from this suffering. I really give you my words, I will not do it again. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, you have committed such a great offense at the lotus feet of my pure devotee. I curse you that you need to suffer from 10 million's lifetime like this. And then he had no other chance. Then he started crying. Then after some time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, again he was passing through from that path, and this time he was seriously he was seriously for the forgiveness. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, look, I cannot do anything. You need to go to Srivas Thakur's house and ask for forgiveness. If he does so, then you will be cured from the disease. And then Gopala Chakla goes at the house and he knocks that, and Srivas Thakur comes out of the house, and they see, and he says, who are you, and so and so. And then he gives his introduction. I'm Gopala Chakla. I made such a great offense towards you. After some time ago, I did this to you. Please forgive me. And he says, I never took any offense from your side. I blesses you that you will be cured from this leprosy disease. And immediately, as soon as the Srivas Thakur gave the blessing, then his leprosy just went away, and he became so happy, and he became the devotee of the Lord here. So my point is here, just to tell everybody, even just to remind myself here, we have to be very, very careful not committing any Vaishnava Apradha at the lotus feet of the Lord. I would like to quote a few verses from different scriptures, such as Hari Bhakta Vilas, because from Dwarka Mahatmya, it is a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, and he says. Prahlad Maharaj is saying to Bali Maharaj, what happens when somebody criticizes the pure devotee of the Lord? What is the position of the Lord? What Lord thinks about it? He says, Pujito Bhagavan Vishnur Janmantara Shatay Api Prasadati na Vishvatma Vaishnave na Chapmanite. Any person who has criticized a Vaishnava, such sinners, even if they worship Lord Shri Vishnu, the source of the whole world, for hundreds of births, with such insulters of Vaishnava, Lord Hari does not remain happy at all. And from Sakanda Purana, there is a list of 6 kinds of Vaishnavapradha. What are the why and how does we do? What are the features from which way we do this Vaishnavapradha? It says, Hanti Nindati Vai Dveshati Vaishnavana Abhinandati Krudhayate Yati No Harsham Darshane Patanani Sad. First, because there is a hierarchy here from 1 to 6, so I would like to go which has been ranked number 1. First is killing the devotee. This is such a serious offense, and there is no solution of it if we kill that person, if we kill the Vaishnava. Second is criticizing or blaspheming a Vaishnava, and that includes many other sections, such as we are criticizing a pure devotee of the Lord due to he has been born in a low family. Second, body with a bad complexion, whether this person belongs to like a African, black Vaishnava, white Vaishnava, a fat Vaishnava, small Vaishnava, or like deformed body, some there is some defect in his body, maybe he's a lame or he's blind with one eyes, or anything we see, any fault we see in his body, disease or infirm body, talking about his previous birth. This Maharaj or this Swamiji used to be like a hippie, or he used to be a druggie, or he used to go to jail, he was a stealer. So this type of using introducing other devotees about the previous life of such a Vaishnava, it is also a great offense. And having an accidental or momentary fall down, we have seen sometime due to being immature in our bhakti. Sometime in our movement we have seen when there was an emergency in Srila Prabhupada time, so Srila Prabhupada awarded many of his disciples as a sannyasa order, but they after some time, for some reason, we don't know whatever reason, they just drop down from their position, from their sannyasa position. And whenever we see such kind of a devotee, we just, hey, do you know that this Maharaj, or this Prabhu used to be Maharaj sannyasi, and he just fall down because he just had a relationship with his disciple of a female disciple, so and so. So this is a very great offense. We need to be very, very careful while saying it. We don't, instead of doing that, we have to speak it. This Maharaj, he served in his young time Srila Prabhupada. He gave his youth to Srila Prabhupada to push on this movement. Even though for any reason, if he has dropped down from this position, still he is strong, still he is serving Srila Prabhupada, still he is in the movement, still he is guiding us, even dropping down from his position. Because dropping this sannyasa, this vanaprastha, this grahastha, this brahmachari, this is all material designation. We should not have to look this to categorize any Vaishnava and tell that he used to be like that, now he's like that. Because Vaishnava is Vaishnava. This material designation does not apply on the Vaishnavas here. And the third is being envious towards a devotee by seeing his position and not offering obeisances to a devotee, become angry towards a devotee and not becoming happy on seeing a devotee here. So these are the things we need to be mindful in our life when we are performing our devotional service. So at the end, I would like to quote one statement from Chaitanya Bhagavata, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that Bhagavata 19.213 and 214. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is declaring one beautiful point here. He's saying, I will personally deliver anyone who avoids criticizing others and once chants Krishna. I vow that this is the truth. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that whoever stops criticizing a Vaishnava, he will grow like a rocket in his spiritual life. So whatever we are doing in our spiritual life, that is only by the mercy of the Vaishnava. It says, Brahman Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Latavir. So this human life we have got after so many lifetimes, and in that human life, by the blessings of the Guru and Krishna, we got this opportunity to perform our devotional service to Lord Krishna. So we have to be very, very careful with our nature, not to look fault in other Vaishnava. This is not our duty to look fault in other. We need to if we really have to criticize anybody, we have to criticize ourselves, that why we are criticizing others. This is not the duty of our to correct somebody. It is a duty of our Guru and Krishna to correct somebody. If we are in the position and we have given a service to correct somebody, then it is okay. If it's not, then we should not do this. So thank you so much for being a part of this presentation.